I'm bringing them in. Welcome everyone. Welcome. How are you doing? How was your week? Welcome everyone. I hope you had a good week. We'll start the lesson in a few minutes. I hope you are enjoying the first lesson. Did anyone of you, just a question, it's not an obligation. Did anyone of you do the homework, the exercise I sent? Did anyone do any exercises? No obligation.
Yes,
Great. Who said yes?
Paul.
Paul. Amazing, amazing, amazing. I'm trying to give you the easiest exercises in the beginning. So can I see, can you show it to me on the screen?
Yes, hang on. There's part of it, Andre.
Great. Wow, you done it all the first lesson. That's great. So
I'll
that's
tell you
good.
what it prompted me to do. I ran into some Hebrew words that someone had put on Facebook, and I could identify several of the letters.
Yeah, you know, by the end of this course, you can identify all the letters with the vowels and start reading biblical Hebrew. So this course, of course, is only a base, it's a foundation I'm giving you. And you can expand on that later. But I'm giving you the foundation because the language is big. Every language needs to learn by heart, time. But I'm making it very simple, giving you the foundation, the easiest I can.
I haven't received any homework.
All right, we put them on Zoom. So let me put them again on Zoom right now. Let me put them on Zoom on chat right now, and you can download it from there.
Andre, last week when I went to download it off of the Zoom, it wouldn't work. And so I asked you, you emailed it to me.
Yeah, I see now. I see what I've done wrongly last week.
Yeah,
now,
I emailed and I asked for it to be emailed, but I never got anything.
Now I put it on Zoom. Now you can download it. It's a PDF file.
I don't know how to do that, but I'll try.
Just double click on the chat. I can help you. Go to the chat on Zoom and double click on the lesson 1 and lesson 2.
Okay.
Tell me if it's working or not. I want to make sure all is right.
Oh, okay. Now I see it. It's in the chat. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, and anyone can double click it and you can download it. I'll give you lesson by lesson. These are exercises you can do. And if you miss lesson number 1, it's also fine. I'm gonna do repetition. So,
okay, yeah, I see it's just forming the letters. That's all it is, right?
Yeah, making it simple. I don't want to. If I give you the real exercises, you will run away. Yeah. So I'm glad Paul made the exercise. That's wonderful, Paul. That's wonderful. The most important is to know how to write the letters in a correct way. And these PDF files will help you to write them in a correct way. Excellent, excellent. We're gonna start on time. Yes, okay, I'm gonna start right now. Welcome everyone to lesson number 2 of Biblical Hebrew. In the first lesson, we learned the first 4 alphabets: Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Dalet. And we learned the meaning of each alphabet and some of the vowels, the first vowel system. Today we're gonna learn another 3 alphabets: He, Vav, Zain. I want you to know how I pronounce them. It's very important, the correct pronunciations, the sounds even. He, Vav, Zain. So we learned Abjad, Hawaz. And I want you to, lesson number 3, we'll learn Hotti, Het, Tet, Yud. But I want you to pay attention to the 5 letters that are different than the other 22 alphabets. There's a 5 alphabets. We write them into 2 different forms. In the end form is different than the center or the beginning. Of course, I'm speaking about biblical Hebrew. So this is the kaf. We write it in 2 forms. This is at the end of the form of the letter. And this is in the beginning of any word or in the center, but in the end is different. And also we have mim come into 2 forms. This is in the end always the same, but in the beginning or the center of a word, also we write it in a different way. And then we have the 3rd alphabet, pe, pe. In the end is a different form. This is a different form at the end. And remember the dagesh, if they have a dot inside, it turns to be pe. Instead of fe, it turns to be pe. And the 5th letter that is written differently is the tzade. The tzade, the tzade. So here, this is how we write it in the beginning or the center. And this is how we write it at the end. Of course, we're going to learn them. But today, lesson number 2, we're going to focus on He, Vav, and Ain. And these are the 5 final forms I just spoke about. Kof, Mim, Nun, Pe, Tzade. 5 alphabets. And we said also there is 6 consonants that have the dagesh, Bet or Vav, Gimel or Ga, Dalet or Ze, Kaf or Chaf, Pe or Fe, Te as Toy, and Fe. We're going to learn it again. So this is what we learned before. I'm doing a revision. To remember these alphabets, Beged, Kafet. Beged, Kafet. All right? This is very easy to remember. You say Beged, Kafet. These are the 6 letters with the dagesh. So that's the first alphabet we learned. I'm gonna repeat it again quickly for the people. We straight line to the right, not very straight, like to the right, a little bit tilt, and then from the top all the way down, and then from the left all the way down. And it comes in a different fonts. It depends on the font. Sometimes you see it like this and decorated like this, or like that. So in a different form, it's the letter Aleph, But it's very important how to write it, okay? It's very important how to write it correctly. Aleph. Then we learned Bet. And with a dot, and without a dot. So we'll go to the right and all the way down, and then another line all the way. And we keep a little bit of a more space to the right. So with a dot, we say be. Be. Without a dot, it's completely changed the sound. We say ve. Ve. All right. And this is how we write it in the written form in the modern Hebrew. All right. But we're going to learn only the biblical Hebrew. We're going to learn only the biblical Hebrew. Bet. Bet. Also, we learned Gimel. Gimel. This is how we write it. Again, on the line on the top and down, and then another line from the center to the left. Gimel, Gimel. Also have the dagesh. With a dot is ge. With a dot is ge, ge. Without a dot is j, j. Two different sounds, two different sounds. And the last letter we learned last week is the dalet. The dalet, straight on the line, and then another straight line, and we keep a small part here. Dalet, dalet. Another time, straight line all the way down, and dalet, dalet. Also have the dagesh. Without a dot, we say the. With a dot, we say de, dalet. All right. So you're gonna get used to it. You're gonna get used to it. This is the fourth letter we learned. And we learned also the vowels. A, E, I, O, U. We said the vowels are important. Again, I repeat it. A, like arm. E, you hear the sound. E, like pen. I, like green. O, like yellow. U, like blue. Of course, we have a long and short, but we learned about it. And we learned also the last lesson about the kametz and about the patah. Now, I want you don't need to remember these words, kametz or patah, but from the sound of the word come the vowel. When I say kametz, look what I say, ka. So it's ah. When I say patah, pa, ah, shorter. So kametz, patah. So from the sound of the name of the vowel, you can know how to pronounce it. All right. This is a higher level for you, but I just want to give you a hint. And for example, today we're gonna learn the vowel tsere, which is e. Tsere. Okay, long. You see, the name of the vowel is tsere. Look, the sound tse, tse. So it's long. E. And then we have the three dots. We call it the segol. So e, se. So it's shorter. Segol. Se. So tsere, tsere is long. Tse. Segol is short. Se. Segol. Anyway, the point I want to tell you, from the sound of the vowel, we can know what is the vowel. This is why they were written. So this is the second vowel we're gonna learn today, the e, like in pen, e. So this is, we pronounce it e, long. This is short, e. Now, when it comes with the letter bet, we say be. If you see how three dots in biblical Hebrew, you say be, short. You see the difference? Here is be. Here is short, be, be. Also, gimel, ge, like se, sere. And here is gay, like segol, gay. And this is dalet. We pronounce it with the vowel a. We say de. And here is a shorter de. And this is de. So again, this is the second vowel we are learning, the e. So any Hebrew letter you find 2 dots or 3 dots, remember the vowel e. 2 dots is long, 3 dots is short. And every lesson we're going to learn a different vowel. Now we have the alphabet, the letter he. And the he, and looks at how they write it in the Protos, like ancient Canaanite, Sinai, from the Sinai. Hey, like a man is saying, hey, he's like waving, he's paying attention. And it's like, hey is formed from that drawing, okay? And this is how they write it in Aramaic. Hey, this is in Aramaic. The people who learned with me the course Aramaic, they learned also the letters of Aramaic. And this is in ancient Hebrew, which is also Phoenician. This is Phoenician, ancient Hebrew. And this is Samaritan, how they write it. And then look how it got developed into Hebrew. Hey. And look here, hey is 2 forms. It's dalet, you see, it's like dalet, and then like yud. This is how we write it in Hebrew. Anyway, in Arabic, this is the end of the word, hey. Of course, it's written in different forms. And then in the beginning of the word is like this, hey. The same like Aramaic is different. And then we have it in Greek. In Greek, pronounced etta. In Greek. Because all the modern languages, Greek and Latin, even French, and all of that was developed from here, from this part of the world. And etta in Greek, and then we have in Latin. If you're interested in Latin, we call it haka in Latin, okay? All the scientific names is in Latin. That was flourishing during the Middle Ages and later, the Latin language. Even the Bible was translated to Latin for 1,500 years. Only the Catholic Church had that language. The Vulgata also translation. Anyway, so what is important for us is biblical Hebrew, all right? Is biblical Hebrew. So you have to know it's made of 2 Hebrew letters, He and Yud. And it presents unification of giving and receiving. You see this guy, like this is how they write in Sinai, in the caves we find in all the mountains. Like there is life here. He is giving and he is receiving. He's opening his 2 hands. So there is a unity between He and Yud, okay? He is expressing a revelation. You know, when you express yourself to someone, you want his attention. You want our attention, saying, hey. So in the Torah, when God appears to a person, in Hebrew, it says, God says, Hineni, which means, I am here. I am your creator. Pay attention to me. And it's very interesting that Hineni is 2 of the 4 letters of God, Yahweh, all right? And every Hebrew letter have a numerical number, okay, which is 4, a numerical number, okay? 4. Anyway, Sorry, numerical value is 5. I'm sorry. Okay. So this is Hey. So Hey literally means in Hebrew, God brings everything into being. So we are connected to the essence of the holiness of the God of Israel. God is above everything. When you say Hineni, you say, I am here, pay attention to me. I am above all of you. We saw the drawing of a person. He's saying like, there is God above all of us. And when he's saying that, he is bringing, when you pay attention to someone, hey, I am here. You are bringing time into being. This is why Yahweh is the past, because the name of God is Yahweh, Haya, Hoveh, Yehyeh, the past, the present, and the future. So God's name is hinting to all his creator, his creation, that I am here, pay attention to me. I will express more in the names of God too. And also every Hebrew letter have dimensions, all right? There's 3 dimensions: breadth, length, and depth, all right? Speech, action, and expression of revealing God to humanity. And we know God, Son, Holy Spirit, right? And we said, hey, we have a numerical value of 5. And there are 5 levels of the soul, all right, of the person. We have the behavior, the soul, the emotions, the intellectual, and the conscious. And there are look at your hand, all right? You know, a human person expressing himself, look at his hand, look at your hand. There's 5 figures, like in our hands, 5 fingers, and represents our ability to communicate. Revelation, all right? Remember in the revelation what happened in creation? The first day of creation, the word light, or, okay? The word light in the Hebrew Bible is mentioned 5 times in creation. There's 5 books of Moses, the core of the Torah. So this is a way to express ourselves to our Creator. And that's all the letter Hey. So let me give you how we write Hey. Of course, we start on the top straight line and all the way down with another strike in the middle. Of course, they write it in different forms, all right? Sometimes you see it much more decorated like this or like this, all right? And that is the modern form, but the biblical form is a straight line and down, a straight line, and then another line here. Also, you find it in another form like this and like this. And sometimes it's not a straight line, it's like a yud, all right? It depends on the font, on the scripts. But this is in general how we write the letter Hey. Hey. It's important how you pronounce it. Hey. All right. Now, I got for you very important the name of God, Yahweh, because I want you to pronounce it right. And let me start with you to tell you this is Yud, the letter Yud. All right, we did not learn this letter yet. And this is Hey. We learned it today. This is Vav, which we're going to learn it the next. And this is Hey. So how you pronounce it right? This is Yud with a kamatz. So we say Ya. Remember I told you? Ah, the kamatz. Ah. Then Hey. Then Vav. And here we have the patah. Also a short Ah. This is a long Ah. And then Hey. So the right pronunciation of the name of God from Torah with the vowels is Yahweh. All right? Yahweh. Let me write it for you. Yud with Epatah, then He, then Vav with a kametz, and then He. So we say in Hebrew, Yahweh. So Yahweh is God, is Adonai. Now, and this is very important, every Hebrew word have a meaning. So now we're going to learn together what is the meaning of God, of Yahweh. So Yahweh is the past, is the present, and is the future. So how we write the past, let me pronounce it for you, with a patah, He, Yud with a patah, and then He. So we pronounce it A, right? So we have the vowel A, the short. So we say Haya. Haya. Haya means I was, means I am the past. Haya. So this is one of the names of God. Ha. Ya. You see how the vowels are important, which means I was, or the past. Then we have Ho, Ve. Of course, if you have the letters without the vowels, you do not know how to pronounce it. So this is He. And then we have the kibbutz. Kibbutz is U, Ho, Hu. And then we have the Wow, the Vav. So without a dot, we say Wow. With a dot, we say Vav. And then we have the Tsere, which is the E. So here we have the vowel U and the vowel E. So we say Ho, Ve. Ho, Ve. Ho, Ve means the present, means I am. Ho, Ve. So this is how we write it. He with 3 dots. I know we didn't learn the dots, but I'm just giving you in advance some hints. Ho, Ve. Ho. Then this is the dagesh. We say Ve. This is O becomes Ve with the dot. And then we have the E vowel. And then the He. Hove. Hove means the present I am. So Haya, Hove, Ehye. Ehye. So we have the Tsere, E, the He, the Yud with the Tsere, E, with the He. Ehye. Let me write it for you. We learned already the letter Aleph. With the Tsere, and then He, and then Yud, with the Tsere and the He. Ehye means I will be, the future. So the name God, Yahweh, is the past, the present, and the future. So when we know Hebrew, we know each word, its name. We go to the roots and we understand the meaning of the word. Any word in the Torah or in the Old Testament and the New Testament, we go back to its roots, we read it right with the vowels, we know the meanings of it. All right. So God is the present, is the past, the future. And Jesus said these words from his own mouth. All right. In the New Testament. Ani, Haiti, Ani Hove, Ani Yeh. I am who am I am the present and I'm the future. So when he's saying these words, he's saying, I am God. All right. Anyway. So that was an example of the letter He. So we're going to learn another letter, Vav. Vav. And look how in the Proto-Sinaitic, how they wrote it, like someone standing up, all right? Like representing a straight figure. Simple. So this is an idea of connection, all right? A connection between people and heavens, all right? A connection. and can be spiritual connection. They wanted to reach heavens and earth down and heavens up. And this is how we write it in Aramaic. Let me show you. This is Olaf in Aramaic, and this is how we write it. All right. They come in different forms in Aramaic. But anyway, then it was changed, and then this is the Hebrew. This is what is important for us. The Vav, the Hebrew. Wow in Arabic. This is how we write it. This is in Samaritan. Also developed from the Phoenicians and originally from the Canaanites. All right. Canaanite, then Paleo-Hebrew. Anyway, then we have it in Greek. All right. In Greek is iota, the iota, the vowels. And then we have it in Latin. Anyway, what is important is Hebrew, and it's not hard. It's a line from the top and then straight. Okay. This is Vav. Okay. All right. With a dot or without a dot is important. Wow with a dot or Vav with a dot. Okay. Wow without a dot. Two different pronunciations. Then Vav with a dot. Ve. So it's easy to write it. A small line. And then all the way down. Vav, Vav. Of course, with the Dagesh, this is two pronunciations. Comes to be O or Vav. All right? O or Vav. O or Vav. And this is interesting what I'm going to show you here. This is the first verse in the Torah. And you can recognize some of the letters here. We already learned Bet, we learned Aleph, we learned Bet, Aleph, Hey, we already learned, all right? So let me read it for you and explain for you the depth of the alphabets and the words in Hebrew. Berashit, and notice when I am reading, how I'm reading with the vowels. Berashit, bara, Elohim, et hashamayim, ve et haaretz. You see here, ve, without a dot is ve. Now, in the Torah, this is the first verse in the Torah. God created heavens and earth. And it says in the first verse, tell us the role of Vav. It said, I told you Vav is a connecting word. So Vav is connecting heavens and earth. God is creating heavens and earth. So here is connecting. So Shamayim means heavens. Aretz means earth. Et ve. So Vav is connecting the heavens with the earth. And now much more interesting. Berashit have 6 letters. All right. 6 Hebrew letters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And there are 6 days of creation. So the first word in Hebrew, Berashit, means creation. In the beginning means itself have a value, itself have importance, the Hebrew letters, which means 6 Hebrew letters, which means 6 days of creation. So also, more than that, we see the letter Aleph appears 6 times. Look here in the first verse. This is 1, Aleph. We find it another time here, second time, 2. Then third time here. and then fourth time at השמיים at fifth, and then we see it here in Haaretz 6 times. So we see the letter Aleph appears 6 times. The cycle of history will last 6,000 years. Aleph, literally in Hebrew, means 1,000. So in the beginning, the first verse, there are 6 Aleph in the first verse of the Torah, hence to the 6,000 years of history. 6 days of creation. A day is 1,000th year, right? And 1,000 year is like a day. So here we have 6,000 years. This is the age of the world, which is the basic numerical values and numbers. And then followed by the Shabbat, all right? So this is, I'm talking about the cycle of all creation. 6 days to work and the 7th day to rest. And you know, there is 6 years of work in the fields, the idea, and then the 7th year to rest, the land. It's called the Shemitah. There are 6,000 years in mankind that we will work. And this is from creation, from Adam to Eve. In the Hebrew Bible, they calculated, we are in the Jewish calendar, 5,000 something now, but we know that there is 6,000 years, followed by 1,000 year, which we call it the Messianic era. So even in the first verse of scripture is speaking about revelation, from creation to revelation. 6 days of creation, 6,000 years of the life of the world, and then 1,000th year where the Messianic era will come. And what is between them? Vav. He's connecting the world. Vav. So Vav is a connecting word. Anyway, you see how much is deep when you understand the vowels, when you understand the alphabets and the meaning of each letter. So the Vav is a connector. Let me give you some exercise to do. And we already learned Aleph. This is Vav. This is Resh, which we're going to learn later. But let me write it for you. Or, all the way straight down like this. Aleph. Then Vav. And by the way, this is the Holim. This is what make it O. So we say or. This is a vowel we'll learn later too. And O, which says O, and then we have the Resh. Or literally means light. Then we already learned Gimel. Goy, Gimel with a dot, Gimel. Vav with O vowel, O, and Yud, Goy. We write it like this, Gimel, Vav with the vowel O, and Yud. Goy means a pagan. Goyim, pagans. Also, Yom, Yud, Vav, Mim. You see, I'm concentrating on the alphabet Vav. Yom, Yud, Vav. You see, this is Mim Sofit. Mem. Yom means day. And then you can recognize three alphabets we learned. Gimel, Dalet, Vav, and Lamed. This is we didn't learn yet, but we pronounce it Gadol. Let me write it for you. Gimel with a kametz. Ga. Then Dalet. Gadol. Vav. Now, if there is a dot here, it changes. So without a dot is O because of the vowel, not the vowel. There's a vowel on the top, but there is the dagesh here. If you have a dagesh, it turns to another, we say va instead of O. So here we say gadol, gadol, which means great, greatness in the Torah, greatness. And then we learned Aleph, we learned Dalet, we learned Waw, Vav, and then Nun, Nun Sofit. We write it, we say Aleph with a kametz, A with a Dalet, Ado with a Vav, Ado with a Nun, all the way down, Adon. So now be aware that the Vav, this is Aleph, Dalet, Vav. The Vav is a straight line, okay? But the Nun is kind of tricky. The Nun, the letter Nun, we will learn later, is longer. So if you see a longer one in the end of the word only, it's Nun, okay? Adon, which means sir or master. Adon, Adon. So remember, this is Holem. This is O letter, O. This vowel, sorry, O vowel, O. This is Kametz, A. So when you know the vowels, you pronounce it really better. Or, Goy, Yom, Gadol, Adon, Adon. We have another letter we're going to learn today. It's called Zain. Zain. Okay. Zain in ancient language means a weapon. A weapon. All right. A weapon. And this is the Phoenician style, but let me write for you the Aramaic. Zain, the Aramaic is a very small letter like this. Okay, this is Zain in Aramaic, Zain. This is in Arabic, all right. Zain, Zain. This is in Samaritan. And then we have it in Greek and we have it in Latin. But anyway, what is important for us is Hebrew, okay? Hebrew. So, Zain, Zain. And this is how we write it, a straight line, okay? And with a head on the top, another head on the top. Zain means a weapon or a sword. So this alphabet is an alphabet of war or struggling or overcoming obstacles. Which means when we are struggling, we always see God. We always move forward because God provides for us. So the vowel number is 7. And 7 is like completion. Without struggling, we do not have completion. So we have to work hard the 6 days, and on the 7th day to rest, Shabbat. It's a divine day after having a hard week. It's a day of rest. You know, in Pesach, the Passover, all right? There is 7 days to the week to the feast of Passover, Pesach, all right? There's also, every Jewish festival have 7 days almost. We have 7 days for Sukkot, the Feast of Tabernacles, lasts for 7 days. The menorah in the temple had 7 candles. You know, in a Jewish wedding, the bride walks around the groom, around him 7 times, 7 blessings, completion, saying, yes, we will struggle in our marriage, but we'll make it complete together. So they celebrate 7 days together. There is 7 cycles of like, the number 7 is a lot in the Bible. Remember, we said 6,000 years, and with the Messianic era, another 1,000. So all 7,000 years to return back to God, the creation. That's the age. Anyway, so that's the letter 7. And look how it also looks. It's also 2 alphabets, a Yud and a Vav. Okay. It looks like a crown on the top. You see, you make like this. And in some other fonts, they have it like this, and they have it like a crown on the top. Other fonts you will see, ancient biblical fonts, you can see it like this, but it represents the crown is the head. And the crown is a woman of valor. All right. And a man with a woman, they are complete. So value number is 7 is completion, Shabbat, completion. Husband and wife is a complete in God's creation. So this is Vav, how it presents, Vav. Vav. Let me give you some examples how we write it. Av, Zaken, old father. Av, Zaken. Let me write it for you. Sorry, like this. Av, with Bet. We learned these 2 alphabets. This is, we learned it just now. Zain. Za. Kuf, we'll learn it later. And then Nun. Av Zaken means old father. Zaken, we learned the alphabet. Zain, Zaken. Also, we'll Zol, this is the alphabet we learned today. Zain, Vav, Lamed. Zol means cheap, not expensive. Now, this is interesting. In every Hebrew word, there is a meaning of letters, but let me pronounce it for you. This is Zain, this is Kuf, this is Resh, this is Yud, this is Hey. The right pronunciation, Zechariah. Zechariah in Hebrew means God remembers. The name of the husband of Elizabeth was Zechariah. All right, which his name literally means to remember. From the Zain, Zechariah. Then we have a seed in Hebrew, which is Zera, which is not only means a seed, means a generation, Zera. So we didn't learn yet Resh, we didn't learn yet Ain, but we learned Zain, Zera, Zera. And then Ze'ev, look at the vowels, how we pronounce it differently. All right. So this is Ze'ev, Ze. By the way, this is a new vowel for you, which is, we call it here, we call it the Shva, this one, 2 dots down, which is Shva, okay, Ze'ev, Ze'ev. You, Shva means like you pronounce it hard, like you press on it. Ze, like double Zain, but we say Shva, which means double. Shva, Ze, Ze'ev, Ze'ev. This is a new vowel, all right? A new vowel. Ze'ev, which means a wolf. So today we learned He, Waw, and Zain. Waw comes in 2 forms, Waw or Vav, all right? Waw or Vav. And by the way, later when you learn Hebrew, later you don't need the vowels because you can read it without vowels. but it's very important from the beginning to learn the vowels. Okay, so we have today till now lesson 2. We have learned 7 alphabets so far. Okay. Next lesson we learn the other 3 alphabets. Hottit. So to remember all the alphabets, you say Abjad, Hawaz, Hotti, Kalman, Sa'fat, Karshat. Okay. This is very easy to remember them. As again, there's the 5 final forms which we talked about. And then these are the Bagid, Kafet, the 6 consonants with the dagesh in the middle with different pronunciation. If we have a dot, we say be, like boy. If there is no dot, we say ve. We already learned Aleph. Then we already learned Gimel. With a dot is Gay, without a dot is J. And then we already learned Dalet. With a dot is D, like in day. Without a dot is the, like the. We already learned these 3. We learned Bagad. Then Kafet, which we're going to learn later. We will learn them later. The Kaf, the Pei, and the Tet. Kaf with a dot, without a dot, Che. Then the Pei with a dot, without a dot, we pronounce it Fe. Fe. And the Tet, like a toy, Te. Letter T, Tet. And then if you don't have a dot, it changes the pronunciation to the. And we learn the vowels also. A, E, I, O, U, with different forms. But now I'm going to read for you again from the first 3 verses in the Torah and recognize what we learned so far, the letters. So let me draw around the letters we learned, because I want everyone by the end of the course to read the first verses in the Torah. Berashit, we learned Bet, we learned Aleph. Okay. Bara, we learned Bet, we learned Aleph. Elohim, we learned Aleph, we learned He. Et Hashamayim, Ve'et Haaretz, we learned Aleph. Now, verse 2, of course, it's not in numbers in Hebrew, but in letters. Be. Let me read verse 2. Ve'haaretz haita tohu ve'bohu ve'choshech al pni tehom ve'ruach Elohim merachefet al pni hamayim. So we learned the Aleph here. We learned the Hey, another Hey, another Hey. We learned the Wow. We learned the Bet. We learned the Hey and the Wow. So now the alphabets are becoming more clear to you. Okay. We learned these 2, Hey, the Wow. Remember, Ruach. This means spirit, Elohim, God. We learned. So let me read the last 3rd verse for you. Ve'yomer Elohim Yehyeh or Ve'yehi or. And God said, let there be light, and there was light. So we recognize some alphabets here, the Vav, the Aleph, the Hey and the Hey, another Hey, the O, another O, Hey, another O. Anyway, it will get easier every time. Thank you so much. Thank you for your patience. and God bless you. I'm aware that it might be a little bit hard for you, but be patient with yourself. The most important for you at this stage, just the alphabets. So I gave you the exercises for lesson 1 and for lesson 2. And just do the exercises. And it's very easy and very simple. At this stage, you need to know only how to write the alphabets and how to pronounce the alphabets. And I want to ask if anyone have any question about the lesson today. Did you find it harder than the first lesson or any questions related?